Hello and welcome to this lesson on Windows Firewall. There's a number of ways of bringing up the Windows Firewall. I can right click on my network adapter and go in through here, and there's the Windows Firewall, or the control panel, or settings, but we'll just do it the lazy way and we'll type in Windows Firewall, and there it comes up, Windows Defender Firewall. Now it's a fairly good built-in firewall. You do get third-party firewalls. If you're installing a third-party firewall, the likelihood is it will switch the Windows firewall off, because if you have more than one firewall on your PC, they can conflict, and that's the same with antivirus programs, and they can start slowing down your PC, etc. But in the norm of things, just leave it on. It does a good job. It's a lot better than what it was. You could switch it on and off here. It's not advisable. You can switch it on and off for particular domains, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go cancel that, and I'm going to go back to the advanced settings. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to create a rule. And the rule that we're going to create is a ping rule to allow ping packets through the firewall. Ping uses port 8, I believe, and it's an Icmp packet. You may remember from one of your other lessons that the TCP/IP protocol uses 3 different types of packets. It uses UDP, TCP, and Icmp packets, which is what we're going to look at today. Difference between the 3, TCP guarantees a delivery, so if a packet and transmission when a session is created is lost, then it will request to resend, for example, packet 3 because it didn't arrive. So it guarantees a delivery. UDP, on the other hand, doesn't guarantee the delivery. UDP, ideal for streaming video, audio, etc. over the internet, and that's why a YouTube video sometimes may look a bit granular. Some of the packets haven't arrived, the connection's not been good, and it doesn't care whether the packets arrive or not, because we're sending so many packets, it doesn't really matter. Whereas TCP, for example, sending in an email, you may well want to make sure that you do get that message. ICMP packets, on the other hand, are internet control message packets, ping basically, and traceroute and commands like that. So we're going to set up a rule for that. So by default, Windows blocks ping packets through the firewall. There is a rule within here that we can configure, but the best way is just to create a new rule and make sure that it works. So you can see here, I've got loads of different software. So some software you'll learn later on for the penetration testing. But these green ones are allowed. These ones here are blocked, okay? So packet tracer 5 blocked here. So how do we create a rule? If I right click on the inbound rule, so this is to allow ping packets into my PC, I create a new rule, and I've got the option to do it by a program, a port, predefined, or a custom rule. So I'm going to click custom here, and I'm going to click next. I'm going to do it for all programs. I could do it for services or particular programs. And the protocol type is ICMP, so ICMP version 3. You could do it for IPv6 as well, but we're doing it for ICMP, Internet Control Message Packets, for version 4. And then we click next. We could do it for particular ports if we needed to. We could do it for particular IP addresses, but for the moment we're just going to leave it for any IP address, just for simplicity. So it's very granular. It never used to be as granular as this in Windows 98, XP, etc. So allow the connection. So I can either say allow the connection, allow it through the firewall, or block the connection, or allow the connection if it is secure, and then we can look and see if it has an IPsec policy. We'll look at IPsec in another lesson. So we're going to allow the connection, and we can do it for when does this rule apply. We can do it for domain, private, or public. Applies when the computer is connected to a public network, location. Be careful with this one, but for this exercise, we're just going to allow it through. Okay. So next, and we're just going to call this ping rule. You can call it whatever the hell we want. We can call it pingy rule or something like that. It's really up to you. Just okay that or finish, and you can see there's the ping rule there. If we need to go back, we can check and we can change these options as and when we need. But the main thing to notice here is that we actually created an access control list. Now we're going to look at that access control list just in a moment when we look at the log files. But you can see there we have an access control list, so we're setting it up. And that's really what works, how a firewall works. It's an access control list that we're creating, a set of rules. So let's to test that, we would need to ping from another machine, but I'm just going to demonstrate that from here. So I'm going to check and see what my IP address is first of all. My IP address, okay, I've got that. Ping 192.168.0.17, and it would allow the packets through. But obviously, I would have to do this from another PC. I'm doing it on my own PC just to demonstrate, but you would ping from another PC in, and that would allow the packet. I could also have blocked that, and I could have went back into the rule and block the connection, apply. I'm not sure if it's going to work from my own PC, but from an external PC, it should block. It's not going to work from my own PC. But if I was pinging from another PC, then it would block the rule. You can see it's blocked there. Okay, so I'm going to disable this rule because it's on my personal PC. I don't want people to be able to ping. But that's how you allow a ping packet through a firewall. So now let's just look at the login of the Windows firewall. We'll look at these features on another lesson. If we right click here on the very top part and go to properties, and we've got a policy for the domain, private, public, and IPsec we'll cover in another lesson. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow login, because by default login is disabled. But if and you can see that the size of the file is set limit, and after that it'll be overwritten, and you shouldn't allow log files to just keep expanding because you'll run out of hard disk eventually. So that's why it's set to a limit and then overwrite. And look at the path. It's in the system32 folder, log files, and then the file is called pfirewall.log. Okay, so log drop packets or log successful. We're going to just say yes to both of these and okay, and we're going to do this for all of these. So we're going to log packets coming through, and I'm going to log packets here and okay that. Okay, and just minimize the firewall, and then we're going to bring up some traffic. I'm going to go into, for example, YouTube funny video. Okay, I'm not actually going to run a funny video. Don't want to. Should check the videos out first before I run them. Okay, but we're just generating some traffic, so I'm going to run some pings again. I'll ping and see if we do generate traffic. I might need to wait a wee while or restart the PC to get the traffic, but we'll check it just now. So I'm going into the C drive Windows and System32, where I showed you where the log file is. There we go. And in the System32, I should see a folder called logs somewhere, log files. And in there, I have my firewall log there. Okay, so there's an old one there, and this is the one that's currently being written to. You can see the size is changing there, so I'm getting traffic. Now I can't open that because it's actively getting written to, But what I can do is copy that and paste, and then I can open this one. So I can open with Notepad. And there's our logged packets. And you can actually see this is the fields it's saying here. This is the actual access control list. So it's saying date, time, action, what the action is, allow or block or negotiate, what the protocol is, TCP, UDP, what the source IP address, destination. So this is what an access control list is, this here. And this is what's used in IDS systems, it's used in firewalls, it's used in a whole host of different things, like Wireshark for monitoring packets. You're going to come across this quite a lot in cybersecurity. So if we look at a particular packet, we can see there's that ping going through there. I've got a number of connections there. I've got an IPv6 address coming through here. There's a whole host of stuff that's been logged there. So that's a access control list on a Windows firewall. Okay, so in your report at the end of this, you're going to have to demonstrate this and show that you were able to configure the Windows firewall and to take screenshots. So work through the exercise, take a screenshot of the rule that you create for ping, and also a screenshot of or a snapshot of your log file as well. Okay, that concludes this video on the Windows firewall. I'll just finish off there.